Welcome back, and joining me for a closer look at what's played out on the market scene today is Robert Towell from Sasfin Wealth. Thank you so much for your time, Rob. US and China finally shaking hands on a deal in London this week after 2 days of talks. Trump coming out and calling it a done deal, and that the relationship between the US and China is excellent. Was this an exchange of olive branches?
Yes, I think it was. I don't think there's a proper deal done yet. I think that at the moment there's still a lot of tariffs from the Chinese side. They're still putting on tariffs of about 10% on American goods. And on the American side, the tariffs are still really, really high. But they're giving each other the olive branch so that they can manage the tariffs. And I think the market needed that. So I think it's very positive for the market. But there's still a lot to be done. So I think that at least the engagement has opened up and they are speaking. So it's positive for markets across the board.
Yeah. And we did get the U.S. consumer inflation print for May coming out in line with expectations. That headline figure on a yearly basis, 2.4%. And then, it came out just slightly higher than April. But I mean, considering the impact of tariffs, seems that not really seeing it at the moment. I mean, what tone has this set for the markets?
Yes, I think expectations were for a slightly higher print. So I think that's very positive on a core level.
Okay.
The core inflation was really mundane, really. And I think that's very positive to allow the Fed to cut rates. So I think at the next session with these type of CPI numbers, it will be very difficult for the Fed not to cut the rate. Obviously, the tariffs still haven't come through. I mean, people are expecting to wait to see the inflation come through from tariffs. At the moment, they're still benign. So, is it still coming through the system? And will the Fed say it's still coming and they won't cut? But I think we're going to get a rate cut from the Fed. And I think it's going to be positive for equity markets worldwide if the Fed starts to cut.
All right, well, let's get into our own equity market. Some company news that came out today. MultiChoice releasing their annual results this afternoon, and you could see declines starting from the top to the bottom line, to the point where you had adjusted core headline earnings swinging from a profit to a loss. Is it going to take a while for this company to get out of the woods?
It is. I mean, they're losing linear customers, which is those customers that are on DSTV direct to streaming services. And then on their own streaming services, Showmax has really stepped up, but that step up from Showmax has cost them a lot of capex. So they're putting a lot of money into Showmax to get those clients that do move away from DSTV to move to Showmax rather than to another provider. And they've also had a very weak rand, which all of their sports rights, TV rights that they buy becomes very expensive. When you buying those rights, which are priced in dollars, all in rand. So they've had a lot of headwinds over the year and a half. They've made really good cost breaks, and they reduced their costs across the board. But it just shows you it's a very difficult market at the moment. And this bid that's coming from Canal Plus from France, I think shareholders would be really, really good to take that deal. It's about 125 rand, and it would be very beneficial. And it also helps MultiChoice correct a few of the difficulties that they have from being a rand business, where they'll have now hard currency buying power on a lot of their sporting viewing, and that's really where they're strong. SuperSport is a fantastic brand worldwide and definitely in Africa. So they want to leverage on that, and they want to have a strong balance sheet. So a good deal, Canal Plus, for shareholders. Let's see if they can get it through.
And talking about strong, we did get strong numbers coming out of Pan-African Resources. They put up an interim operational update saying that they achieved a record gold production. And actually, this is in an environment of an elevated gold price. Are they swimming in the good times?
Definitely. I think they did take some hedges out on the gold price, so they didn't get the full benefit of the $3,300. And those hedges fall off in July. So from July onwards, they'll get the full benefit. So the earnings, which are really looking really strong now, are only going to get better into the second half of the year. They had one or two issues at one or two of their mines. So even though they had record production, it was slightly below the guidance. But still really good numbers. And most of their capex is done. They've put in a lot of solar power as well for a lot of their facilities. So they're really sitting in a good position. If this gold price stays like this for another year to 18 months, they're going to have super profits. So I think that the gold miners now are really starting to benefit from this this gold price. And at the moment, we don't see the gold price really coming down much, even with issues in Russia and Ukraine, which might, there might be some type of slowdown in that war. People are still buying gold. Reserve banks are buying gold. So yes, at the moment, gold is strong, and I think that you'll see super profits coming from the miners, especially the gold miners.
All right. Where else are you seeing value? What is your stock pick for today, Rob?
Well, nothing really at the moment with our market up, at all-time highs, mainly driven by the platinums and the gold. But it is interesting to look at the platinums. The platinums have been depressed for a long time, and finally you're starting to see a platinum price move. There was an interesting article in Mining Weekly that they're going to start a futures exchange for platinum in China. That will bring a huge amount of demand, at least in the short term, as those futures contracts need to have physical platinum beneath them. So you've seen a big push in the platinum price. They're looking interesting, and I would think, take a look at that, look at the strongest balance sheet out of the platinum miners that we have, and buy the one with the best balance sheet.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your insights on what has moved investors' money today, Rob. Really appreciate it. That was Robert Towell from Sasfin Wealth.